Welcome to the Science Plus Love Equals Cure podcast, the STXBP1 10-minute monthly update. This is podcast number 24. I'm Charlene Sun Rigby, president and co-founder of the STXBP1 Foundation. I'm also mom to STXer Juno and her big brother Luca. We missed the July segment because of the holidays after the STXBP1 summit, but we're back now for August. So today's topics are a recap of the STXBP1 Family Summit and the Capsida clinical trial, and then some thoughts in general on clinical trials. Second, a new chatbot for STXBP1, then September Awareness Month, and the upcoming October Summit in Heidelberg. All right, first topic. The STXBP1 Family Summit, the Capsida clinical trial, and thoughts on clinical trials for our community. We had a tremendous family summit in Colorado in July. I left with a full brain with all of the science updates and a full heart with seeing so many old friends and also meeting so many new fantastic families. It was truly an amazing event. So the recordings from the summit sessions have been posted on our website, and that includes both the Saturday science updates as well as the Sunday support and community sessions. One of the most highly anticipated updates was on the gene therapy trial Capsida is running. And so I want to give a recap. Why are we excited? This is the first clinical trial for a genetic therapy in STXBP1 related disorders. This is a huge milestone for our community. A genetic therapy is different from traditional therapies. You may have heard the term disease modifying treatments. So a disease modifying treatment targets the underlying cause of a disease versus treating the symptoms only. You can think of a symptomatic treatment like anti-seizure medications, which address seizure symptoms. Okay, so disease modifying treatment. A gene therapy works to address the genetic error or typo our kids have. And importantly, because we believe that our kids are not making enough STXBP1 protein, regardless of their genetic mutation, the focus of most of our disease modifying therapy programs is to increase STXBP1 protein. And this is what the capsida gene therapy has been developed to do, increase STXBP1 protein. Melanie Brandbadur, who is Vice President of Clinical Development at Capsida, spoke at the summit. So Capsida has developed a new capsid or vector that targets the brain. And so because it can cross the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain, it's being administered through an IV. There's been strong data that's been presented in mice and monkeys, and based on this data, Capsida has launched the Synergy trial to test this medication in STXBP1 patients. Melanie spent a lot of time talking about the overall structure of the trial and some of the timelines. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that here. So importantly, the clinical trial is going to start slowly. There are 6 patients in phase 1 and 6 patients in the second phase, which is called 2A. And the patients in phase 1 are going to be treated sequentially, which means that one kid will receive treatment, and then there's going to be a waiting time before the next child is going to be given treatment. And so why is that the way that the trial is being structured? It's important to remember that this is the first time this gene therapy is being given to humans. So the trial is going to progress slowly with a focus on safety in this first phase. And there's going to be a lot of monitoring of the patients, of these initial patients, again, focusing on making sure that this medicine is safe. And then later phases will start to focus on, is this medicine effective? Scott Demarest from Children's Hospital of Colorado gave a really informative talk on clinical trials and preparation for patient families at the summit. And he talked about genetic therapies and the typical associated concerns and risks. He also spent time talking about what is typically done in trials to lessen those risks. And so that's also a talk that's worth reviewing. I'm going to talk about now where the Capsida clinical trial is. So it has launched at two sites that are recruiting. So Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, as well as Weill Cornell in New York. And there are two more sites that should be recruiting soon, Texas Children's, as well as Colorado Children's. We are going to look forward to Capsida's updates on the trial progress. You can follow this on Capsida's press releases, and the foundation will be reposting those on the foundation website. I want to set our community's expectations that initially we may not hear much or even anything about the trial results for several months. This is what has happened in other communities with other clinical trials. And the biotech company, in this case Capsida, is going to want to have some milestone or data to report. Now, I want to acknowledge that many of us, including myself, are eager to know if this experimental medicine is working. And so several months may seem like an eternity. I am asking all of us to be patient during this time. I also want to say that individual trial participants may choose to share that they are in the trial and others may not. It's a personal choice. The main thing that we need to avoid is potentially biasing the results of a clinical trial. So, clinical trials are set up so that we can understand whether a treatment is safe and works. Information is collected within a clinical trial in a way so that it is as unbiased as possible. A risk is that sharing detailed information might change how other families perceive or report their own child's symptoms. And then this can make it more difficult to tell if an experimental treatment is actually working. Jim Goss, our scientific director, and I just wrote a blog post on this topic, and I will include a link in the notes. And I want to emphasize that sharing information on clinical trial participation is a personal choice. And given that this is the first clinical trial for a genetic therapy for our community, we wanted to prepare our community based on the lessons from other diseases that are ahead of us. And so Jim and I have included references and links to a couple of other communities, including Dravet syndrome, another neurodevelopmental disorder, and Fragile X. Actually, both disorders in the same kind of neurodevelopmental disorder space. Okay, second topic. We have a new chatbot for STXBP1 called the ChatGPT STXBP1 Assistant. So I can't go a day without hearing the words artificial intelligence multiple times. AI is transforming our work life, our home life, so many things. And AI can also help with understanding STXBP1, especially because now there's a lot of information out there on STXBP1. So you've probably heard that AI can sometimes have problems with hallucinations. So these are situations where the information the AI provides includes stuff that the AI made up. So we want to help our community leverage artificial intelligence and chatbots and also lessen the possibility of these hallucinations or incorrect information. And so to this end, one of our parents and community leaders has developed a chatbot for STXBP1. So Lior Dor, who is founder of Rare Smile, which was the first foundation for STXBP1 in Israel, is also a science researcher. And Lior is also dad to STXer Ron. Lior has developed the the ChatGPT STXBP1 assistant. So I want to tell you a little bit about what went into this. To build the ChatGPT STXBP1 assistant, Lior loaded a knowledge base of 20 curated major STXBP1 research papers, and he loaded that into a ChatGPT instance. And so this instance, when asked a question, it's going to first use this knowledge base of curated research papers, and then if it doesn't find an answer there, it will search its own global knowledge base. So check out the ChatGPT STXBP1 assistant. Oh my gosh, I cannot say that. Check out the ChatGPT STXBP1 assistant. It's on our website on the About page, and it's also linked in the notes of this podcast. Please give feedback so we can share it with Lior and figure out how we can improve it. Thank you very much, Lior. Okay, third topic, STXBP1 Awareness Month and Move to Cure. STXBP1 Awareness Month is just around the corner. It is the entire month of September. Please keep up with us on social media and on Zoom. We will have new advocacy stories, Community Connect webinars, and also our Did You Know cards are expanding. So the Did You Know cards are cards that you can share on social media to increase awareness and knowledge of STXBP1 disorder. It's now in 13 languages. We just added Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish. And so really excited about that. Thank you to our Global Connect for those added languages. September is also when we launch our Move to Cure community event and fundraiser. It is the 9th year of Move to Cure. And so now is the time to organize a team. If you are interested in that, please check out our website on team organization. I'm also excited to report that there is a lot of activity on Move to Cure this year in Europe. So if you want to get involved or plugged in, please see our website or reach out to our team. All right, fourth topic, STXBP1 Summit in Heidelberg. The STXBP1 Summit in Heidelberg is going to be held October 8 to 11. So we just held the summit for families in Colorado in July, and so you may be wondering, well, what's different? Okay. The research roundtable is the first thing. We alternate our research roundtable between the US and Europe to support a really vibrant and growing global research community that we are very, very proud of. This will be the second time we've held the research roundtable in Europe. I'm excited about all the new research that will be presented, including late-breaking research and emerging hot topics. And this is going to go from Wednesday afternoon through Friday. So that's the 8th through the 11th, the 10th of October. And this is going to be followed by the Family Summit that is going to be focused on our European families. And that's going to take place on the Saturday, October 11. There will be research updates as well as roundtable panels. Jim Goss, our scientific director at the STXBP1 Foundation, and I will be talking at the clinical trials panel on Saturday. So I hope to see many of you there. Registration will be open until September 15th. So you have a little over 2 weeks to still get registered. And this is both for the Research Roundtable as well as the Family Summit. All right, let's call it a wrap for today. I will look forward to talking to you next month.